Hey everyone, my name is Kjarlune Rae, coach, clairvoyant, teacher, and channel in all things universe. And I'm here with you today to answer the first question that I selected sent to me by clients and fans to channel the answers straight from the universe. So here's how we're going to do it. I am going to verbally ask the question and then sit and get comfortable, not looking at the camera, only the question, and see what the guides in the universe have to say in answer. Okay. Now, this is the first of many that we're going to do. So the truth is, myself and you, we don't actually know what the outcome is going to be. So the first thing I want to say is good luck to us all. But the other thing that I want you to know is that when I'm working in my office and I'm allowing things to come through, I have lots of sort of things that I do. And so you might hear them or see them. And they're just how I can sort of get my own mind out of the way, if that makes any sense. So the one thing that I do, and this is really, we've got the conscious side of our brain and then we've got the subconscious side of the brain. And as a clairvoyant, I don't think about what I'm saying. So I go into the subconscious side of my brain and the subconscious side of your brain. And as a channeler, I sort of let go of my physical thought processing. I'm not sure if that makes any sense. And I'm hoping that through the process of all these videos, I will eventually get to the point where I can sort of make it make sense what I do. But in a nutshell, what happens is that I sort of shut myself off and I just allow myself to communicate whatever's coming out. Now, for, 30 plus years, that's been extremely successful. And I have a really great accuracy level. And it's how I've built every program. It's how I teach everything. It's how I do every session. It's how I do everything. And what's shifted a little bit is that now they sort of push me or come in with me and communicate in a way that I can't dispute. It's called trance channeling. And sometimes you'll see things in the videos. You may see things in the videos like my voice changes or I become very emotional, or you see my facial expressions change. And that's just, I'm releasing and allowing someone else to come through. But while I'm doing this, I do some things to keep myself occupied. That's where I was headed. And you're going to discover this through the process of me answering these questions too. It's like squirrel, I get on to another level, but there's a few things that I do. So one of the things that I do is that I always have a pen and a notebook with me so that I can just sort of write or doodle, or so I'm not really thinking. Okay, because again, I want to get rid of this part of the brain. The other thing that I do, so I'm just going to give you a warning now, I'm a poker player, so I shuffle chips. And a lot of times in my office, when I'm doing my video sessions, my clients will hear chip shuffling in the background. So it's sort of subconscious. I don't even realize I'm doing that. So if you hear shuffling, it'll sound like this. So I'm just going to give you sort of an understanding of awareness of the sound. It'll sound like this. I apologize. It's not intentional. It's just how I stop thinking, okay, and just get straight to the answer. And then the third thing that you should know is that I'm a vapor. And so as a vapor, occasionally I'm just going to stop everything that I'm doing, take a puff of my vape, and then continue on. And the last thing that's important, I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 6 adult children with a lot of grandchildren. So, and I'm not scripting any of this. Other than, my tiny little introduction there and the question, there's no script to this. I have no idea what's going to happen. So if we get interrupted, if we get anything, I'm going to keep going because I can't possibly gain this information again. That's an important thing to understand. When we were filming my TV pilot, I was so lucky that I had such an amazing producer because he had to learn very quickly. He couldn't even ask me to repeat a sentence because once it comes out, it's gone. I'm never going to retrieve it again. So, the other advantage for me is that this is the first time I'm actually going to pay attention and see the recordings that I'm doing because I don't know what the answers are either. It's not actually me answering. So those are the things that you might see. I hope that they don't annoy you. This is about as authentic as it's going to get. I'm not doing editing. I'm not doing any of those things. So I will warn you, I might swear. Not only am I a swearer, but guides swear with me all the time. So I might swear. I might frustrate you. I sort of really don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to go with it's meant to. Okay. So when I got this question, I got pretty excited. I got these tingles coming up and down my spine. And when I get these tingles, it's not only, it's not only are they telling me that there is an answer and that I can easily access it, but it's also telling me that I want the answer. So a part of why I chose this as my first question is because I really want the answer too. So now you have the information. Okay. So question one, a question that constantly crosses my mind as I choose to live karmically is it true? Do you really get back what you put out? I see so many people living selfishly, rudely, and not caring who they run over in the process of achieving what they want, and yet they seem to get ahead. I love giving to others, even when we don't really have the means to give, yet we constantly end up in a state of struggle in the winter. That being said, our spending habits aren't great. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat the question and then I'm going to sort of focus. So the question is, a question that I have that constantly crosses my mind as I choose to live karmically is it all true? Do you really get back what you put out? I see so many people living selfishly, rudely, not caring who they run over in the process of achieving what they want, and they seem to get ahead. So, the biggest problem that comes with the question of karma is being able to understand and realize that karma is extremely individual. The world has spent years and years, society, powers that be, teachers, cultures, whatever, have spent years communicating that there's like this meter or guideline of karma. And that's not what it is. Karma is an internal battle. Karma is as internal as your contract and your curriculum. And every time you come here and you come back and you have this list of things that you need to achieve, it's your curriculum. And there's this belief system or assumption out there that all of that happens through the universe, that we watch over you and direct you and guide you and punish you and teach you, and that we are the ones taking all of the actions to control or manipulate, create your outcomes. And that's just simply not true. Like your contract, your karma is individual and it is created solely and directly by you, by your belief system, by the things that you think, by the things that you convince yourself and you tell yourself is right or wrong. In the universe, we don't measure things by good or bad, positive or negative. We measure it by energy and by frequency. If you think back in your life, there have been many times where you have made things happen because you were angry, and made things happen because you were excited, made things happen because you were sad, made things happen because of your anxiety. Those things came through your energy. And so we as the universe, when you raise your vibration, no matter what that vibration is, we as the universe match the vibration and attach our frequency to your frequency, and that's how things are created and outcomes are done. But we can't create something for you. That's not our job. You were born with free will. You were born with a list of lessons or subjects, if you will, that you're here to go through and experience and witness and participate in. And our job is to guide you through the process, is to give you a helping hand, an energy boost, a frequency raise on what you put out. It is your choice what happens. Karma, what you put out comes back to you tenfold. Isn't a lie, but it's also not, it's not a lie. It's it's a simplification that is really hard to understand. In your life, you grade yourself at every moment of every day of your existence. Throughout your entire life, you are constantly communicating in your brain between your conscious and your subconscious of what you should do, what you would do, what you should like, what you would like, what do you want, what don't you want, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, why you're angry, why you're mad at yourself, you're stupid, you can, you can't. You take your experiences on in life and the things that you've witnessed, and many of the things that you've witnessed are things that have had nothing to do with you. They're not even about you, but you felt like they affected you. And so you started establishing and creating, from when you first got here, this belief system, this process of what you've seen, what you told yourself you experienced because you watched and witnessed, and you turned it into your story, and you turned it into your truth or your lies. And in doing so, you created inside of yourself a compass, a moral fortitude, a moral compass, a set of rules, guidelines, or regulations for you in your life. And some of those are extremely good, and some of those are valuable, and some of those will get you where you want to go, but most of them are extremely bad, and they stem from other people's poor choices and decisions, and they stem from experiences that were not even yours to experience. Just because something affects you doesn't mean it's about you. And so because of that, you've created a belief system inside of you, the moral compass, like we're talking about, and you're grading and judging everybody else out there that you see, their decisions and choices. You're grading them based on your moral compass, which is why you get so confused about what karma is, because that is not karma. Living karmically or karma coming back is not, it's not your decision or your choice to make. It's not about you. And when you see other people out there and you see the things that they experience, and you say that you see people living selfishly and rudely and not caring who they run over in the process of achieving what they want and what they see, and yet they seem to get ahead. What you have to understand is that is your perception of what they're doing. That is your judgment. You are judging and prosecuting another soul based on your belief system, what you learned, what you were taught, and what they learned and what they were taught, and the moral compass that was developed inside of them, they created and they built and they tore into themselves with, and the scars and the bruising that they have that created their moral line, their guideline, if you will, is different than yours. And what you would think is karma and what someone else would think is karma are not the same thing. And what you've been told is punishment is not even close to all the ways that as a human you can be punished, because you punish yourself. And the reason that these people get ahead is because they don't perceive what they're doing is wrong. It's what's wrong now. It's the battle that exists, the division that has taken place over the last 4 years of our lives of should you, shouldn't you. If you did what they told you to do, you're a good person. If you didn't do what they told you to do, you're a bad person. It's this persuasions and this manipulation that happens in your entire lives that shares with you and expresses to you what you should believe is right and wrong. The right and wrong that exists on your earth, in your schoolyard, every one of those right or wrongs were created by man, not by universe, not by gods, not by guides. They were created by man. And that means they are fundamentally flawed because you are here flawed. You come flawed. You leave flawed. You are here to learn. You're here to experience. You're here to grow. And what you think is punishment and what another soul thinks is punishment, they don't add up. And just because you don't see another person suffer does not mean they're not suffering. They're showing me an example. So sometimes in my work, they'll give me an example of what they're trying to explain or what they're trying to show. And so they're giving me an example of Donald Trump. And I'm assuming this is the vision that I'm seeing because that's what I can relate to. It's not like they're saying, think of Donald Trump, just so you guys understand. Just things I can relate to. You know, as an individual, I see personally, okay, don't misunderstand me, the man's successful and all of those things, but he's not somebody I'd have for tea. He's not my kind of cup of tea, to be honest with you. And there's lots of rumors and things that I've heard about him over the years. I've heard that he didn't pay his contractors. I've heard that he was ruthless. I've heard that he's declared bankruptcy a few times. I've heard, and as I'm saying all of this, please understand, I am not in for a second, for even a remote second, telling you that any of this is correct or incorrect. I'm just saying, the world's full of rumors is really what I'm saying. I'm not actually talking about him or my opinion of him. I'm just using it as an example. And I'm using it as an example because he's in the limelight, right? And so there are a lot of things that have gone on in his life over the last few years that, depending on your perception, you could really see as karmatic payment for decisions and choices that he's made, except that I don't know in truth, nor do you, what decisions and choices he's made or what his belief system is. So, but there are many people that would look at him and go, well, that's not karma. Look, he's still got money. He's still got success. Everybody still knows him. That's not karma. And what they're showing me is an image of that so that I can understand that what I view to be suffering and what you view to be suffering and what the person beside you views to be suffering, they're not all the same thing. And I know for me, and I'm looking forward to hearing what was said about it, but I know for me, I've always believed that karma is, it's about me. It's, I was told a long time ago, and I'm being told again, that 99 I'm trying to be nice by saying 1999, but they're saying unequivocally, absolutely 100%, 100% of everything that exists in your life is your doing. It's about you. You have created it. You have manifested it. You have attracted it. You have accepted it. You have settled for it. You have punished yourself with it. You have been destructive or successful or all on your own. And that everything that you have attracted, everything that you have created or not created, liked or don't like, has been based on the belief system that you have. What I think is right and wrong, there may be some similarities. I mean, what I think is right and wrong and what you think is right and wrong, there might be some similarities, but not all. And I can give you some examples just so you can, see where I'm coming from here. Obviously in the work that I do, as you can imagine, I deal with every type of person. Okay. So I have done readings for constituents. I've done readings for famous people. I've done readings for royalty. I've done the readings with police. I've done bikers. I've done gang members. I've literally done. That sounds so bad. I've read for. So bad. I need to really try to remind myself, at least when it's me talking, that I'm actually going to be on YouTube. But I mean, there isn't a personality or a type of person that I haven't come across in the many years that I've been doing this. So my idea of morals is so different than so many. And that's probably why I'm able to do what I do, to be honest with you, because I don't create a judgment, because our morals are judgment. And that's the problem, is that we judge people by our morals, and it's not our lives, and we don't actually know everything that's going on. So, how could we possibly be right? I was talking to a coaching client of mine, and I was talking about someone very famous. I was seeing a meme. I'm not even going to talk about who it is because I shouldn't talk about anybody. I'd seen this meme and earlier yesterday or whatever, and the meme was, so how did it feel to spend this many $1 million on something that you've now changed, and now it's worth this money, which is much less, and who's the idiot now? And I was looking at it, I started to laugh because the first thing that I thought when I seen that meme was, the person that's lost the millions of dollars in that acquisition did it completely and fully intentionally and needed the actual write-off. So he's actually laughing himself all the way to the bank because, it's actually making him money, like it or not. And the reason that most people wouldn't, or many people wouldn't grasp that, is because they don't think like that. They don't think about big business write-offs and, you got to take losses to get gains. And there's all these different types of mentalities. There's all these different educations. There's all these different knowledges. And way more importantly, there's all these different lives. And we're all living different lives. And so what I'm hearing is that karma is real, but it's your personal prison. What you put out, you get back. I think that's, from everything I'm seeing that they're sort of saying and sharing, and I think showing me, is and I'm gonna have to watch the beginning of the video too, but what I'm getting from what I'm sort of establishing and hearing and understanding is that what you put out, you get back. But what's more importantly than that is what you believe you're putting out, you get back. And I feel like I want to take the second part of this question to be able to explain that to everybody, right? And so the second part of the question is I love giving to others even when we don't really have the means to give, yet we constantly end up in a state of struggle in the winter. Now, yes, this particular person acknowledges, but that being said, the spending habits aren't great. But what they're not understanding is that what's happening is what they're getting back is not what they're giving, it's the reason they give. And so what I mean by that is we get back the emotion or the actions based on the emotion of what we feel and believe about what we're putting out there. And so what I mean by that is, so I'm going to use me as an example, and I'm not saying that this is right or wrong for you. I'm not saying that this isn't what you're doing. Don't misunderstand, but I give. So for me, because I do a lot of giving. I give a lot. I give to people in need. I give to homeless. I give, donations. I give a lot. Food banks, all of that stuff. It's always been extremely important. And every event that I've ever done and anything that I've ever done, it's always had to have been by donation or food bank or whatever to what mattered. But when I do that, okay, so I do give back, and my reasoning, I think that's important to understand, because I think it's the truth for everybody. My reasoning is actually really selfish, and your reason for loving giving to others, even when you don't really have the means, is for a selfish reason. My reason is because I truly believe that in order for the universe to align things to match my vibration, in order for the universe to have opportunities for my vibration to match the frequency, there has to be people here on earth willing to help that need be met. And so if I'm going to need that by a lot of opportunities on this planet, then so is everybody else. And I've always believed. I don't even know where I got this belief system. I certainly could have gotten it from family. I could have been born with it. I don't actually know. But I very much believe that me participating in giving and helping, regardless of the reason, that's my job. It's my job because it's also what I need. And so I'm going to give what I need. And when I need people's help, and so I'm just going to explain it this way because I'm not sure if I'm making full enough sense. I've got a little bit of a headache coming on, so I'm assuming I did some channeling in this video. But my belief, or how I sort of function, is I need to give and help so that I can be helped. But when I need to be helped, when I require something, whether I need money or I don't know, whatever it is, let's say I need money. Okay. I am very much of the personality that it's nobody's business what I do with it once it's been lent to me, once it's been given to me, once it's been lent to me. And I'm not telling you whether that's right or wrong. I'm not telling you that's what you should believe or what you shouldn't believe. You're going to learn all kinds of things about me through this process. And some of them you're probably going to judge, but I really, my life is my business. That is so big for me. My life, my business. And so because of that, because of my belief system, I put no attachment whatsoever to what I give. I give because I absolutely want to, because I 100% believe that if I give to that person, I'm going to benefit. I 100% believe that what I put out, I'm going to get back in return, no questions asked. And because of that, because of my belief system, I get it back in so many different ways, and never in ways that I would expect. So, I can give you examples. I go and give a homeless person $20 before I walk into a poker room, and I have a $2,000 night. Now, did I have a $2,000 night because I played great poker? Absolutely. But I was in the mindset to play great poker because I felt so good walking into the room. And a part of how I felt good walking into the room was giving to someone else because I believe that what I put out, I get back. So I had more pep in my step, if that makes any sense, when I walked into the poker room. I had more of a belief. My vibration was higher that something would go well than something would go wrong because energy is everything. Right? So the karma that I get back from that is I win a great night of poker. But equally, if I gave, but felt like I couldn't give, so I gave when I couldn't, then I would resent it because and I'm not saying that this is how you feel, any of you. I'm just saying this is where I would be. If I gave because I thought I was supposed to, because I was taught somewhere that that was the right thing to do and didn't believe it with everything that I am, because I could have been taught that. I just believe it with everything that I am. If I did that, then I would, then unintentionally, there would be resentment because I'm struggling because I'm giving what I don't have. Because I'm giving what I don't have, what I'm giving out there is what I don't have. So the energy that I'm getting back is more of what I don't have. So less of my needs being met and less of what I think my needs are being met, less of my wants. I'm struggling. I'm having to juggle. I get there for sure. I mean, it all gets paid some way, somehow, but man, it was a real bitch to get there. And I don't even realize that that's the karma that I'm getting back for going and helping when I'm not in the position to help. I know that may sound crazy, but because I believe helping others is so unbelievably important, I always have it to give. And once it's gone, it's gone. Once, and I do this in a lot of different areas of my life. It's not, it's not just that. I don't hold on to anger and frustrations when relationships end, regardless of what those relationships are. Like, I know for sure that no matter what's going on in my life, the only thing that can ever make me pay is me. And so I try, I don't always succeed, but I try to really focus on what I'm putting out there. And I put it out there because I want to. So I feel like what they're trying to explain about karma, and if those of you that are watching don't actually think that the question's been answered, please tell me in the comments, because I'll do it again. I got no problem. I want you to get the answer. So I'll do it again. But I feel like what I'm being told the answer is that karma is a very personal thing. And just because you're not seeing the outcome doesn't mean that it isn't happening. And I feel like the other valuable thing that they'd like you to understand is just because it affected you doesn't mean it's about you. And I feel like that's a really great topic that at some point here on the channel, I'm probably going to do. And before I forget, if you enjoyed this, even if you thought I was crazy, but you'd like to watch more, or you don't feel like I answered the question properly, but you'd really like to get the answer, or you'd really like to hear what other questions are available, don't forget to like and subscribe. It allows you the opportunity to get a notification that shows that I've thrown up another video. I'm going to be doing as many of these as I possibly can, and I'm going to be adding other things. And, I'm hoping it can bring a lot of value. And if it's something that's really popular, then I will absolutely start to do live ones too, and maybe see if we can, trans channel some of your loved ones and your private important questions. So again, if you enjoy this at all, even if you just think I'm a whack job, which is perfectly acceptable, then please like and subscribe and get notifications. So now I'm going to take a second and I'm going to go because there's a second part of this question and of her question, and I feel like this one I might be able to answer myself, but we'll sort of see what happens. We'll see what happens. So first, for any of you watching, take a deep breath. If you're a vapor, have a little vape. I don't know if you're drinking, maybe have a drink. If you're not, maybe you should, because a lot to take in. Not that I'm promoting drinking. Anyway, okay, so question 2. You're going to discover on this channel, really, I'm batshit crazy. I really am. I enjoy it. I do well. My crazy works for me. Question 2, or at least I think it does so far. Question 2, how do we break the cycles of childhood? The unhealthy learned behaviors that we watch and hated yet can't stop ourselves from imitating. So, one of the things that I heard in the karma question that I heard coming out of my mouth was really significant and actually answers this question. A great deal of things that transpire in your childhood, many things. I mean, there are absolutely things that have happened to you individually, no matter who you are watching this, listening to me. There are many things that you have experienced for sure that were about you and about your contract, but that only makes up every experience that you have actually had, not that you've witnessed. And I'm going to talk about that in a second, but every experience that you have actually had, that you have fully experienced and embraced and learned from, holds about 10% maybe of your belief system. It could actually be closer to 5. It's about 5 to 10% of your belief system. The remaining part of your belief system stems from impressions and emotions that you took on, that you turned into yours because of other people's actions that had nothing to do with you. And I'm going to give some examples so you can understand. You know, your parents' divorce. I can guarantee you, if you come from a divorced family, you had nothing to do with your parents divorcing. I don't care what kind of a jerk you were or weren't. You had nothing to do with their divorce. It had everything to do with them. It had everything to do with what was going on behind closed doors. It had everything to do with their bank accounts. It had everything to do with their sex lives. I totally understand. You don't want to know about your parents' sex lives. It had everything to do with them as couples, just like you understand as an adult that whatever happens in your relationship has nothing to do with anybody else but you. Okay. Including if you allow other people to get involved. So if you allow family members to have a voice in your relationship or any of those things, total different topic. And I'm not trying to go on a tangent, but when I'm talking, you discover squirrels. So this is my typical clairvoyant work. Anyway, so, you know, you experience these things. You experienced your parents' breakup, for an example. Yes, absolutely, that affected you. Okay. But it wasn't about you, or you were there the day of a school shooting and absolutely it affected you. It wasn't about you, or the millions and millions and millions of conversations that you overheard of, you know, you're stupid, how could you do that, or the anger that's coming out from other people, or the conversations that you eavesdropped on that you turned into a part of your belief system. You know, those conversations, the things that you think you believe about your other family members because the things you overheard as a kid that your parents said or your grandparents said, or so much of what you have created as a part of your story, as a part of your belief system, is not even yours. And that is not just a few of us, that's all of us. There are so many things in my belief system that I have discovered over the years and that I have worked on that have absolutely, they're not even about me. They've affected me. You know, my parents were divorced. My parents separated for, I think, 9, almost 10 years before they got back together. You know, I certainly tried to convince myself that I played a role in that too, but I wasn't Mr. or Mrs. Just for the record, I was the child, right? It wasn't about me. So many things, you know, and I'm just giving you examples so you can understand. I have a grandma who's passed on, and I don't know what I did to upset her. I wasn't the most honest, easygoing person, child to raise beyond a long shot, but there was this one time that I have a memory of this time where I came home after being at a visit, and she called my family, my parents or whatever, and said that I had stolen from her. And my parents went into my suitcase and there was Mary Kay cosmetics in my suitcase. And there was Mary Kay cosmetics. I think there was lipsticks or something, but it absolutely was there. But what actually happened was that my grandma wasn't selling them anymore, and I was a typical little girl who thought my grandma was so cool because she had all this makeup, and I asked her if I could have some, and she put some together, and I must have done something to piss her off because she called my mom and dad and said that I stole it. And of course, nobody was going to believe me. I wasn't an honest kid, and it's not like I was told the truth. So you cry wolf, things happen, and I absolutely got punished, and it absolutely did affect me. But the truth is, I didn't I was 7, 8 years old. Okay, there's no way I could have actually done something that would have made her want to do that. So it wasn't because of me. It was because of her. It was because of how she feels or how she thinks or how she was raised. I mean, she was found in an onion patch for all so many the reactions. I can tell you as a mom, how many times I've reacted to my kids growing up. It had nothing to do with them or what they even did. You know what? It just didn't. It affected them for sure. And that absolutely makes me an asshole. And it means I wasn't necessarily always a great mom, but I was stressed out that day. A bill collector called, or the furnace went, or I had to figure out how to pull off Christmas with nothing. The list can go on. And so, there's a lot of reactions that happen and conversations and things that you overhear, and you start to create this belief system where you see these unhealthy things, like unhealthy relationships and stuff, and you just think that must be what everything is. And where the problem is that you take them on and you turn them into your story. So when you ask, how do you break the cycles of childhood, the unhealthy learned behaviors that we watched and hated, yet can't stop ourselves from imitating, you have to go back through those things and ask yourself, was it about you? Just because it affected you doesn't mean it was about you. And if it wasn't about you, if it wasn't your circus and it's not your monkeys, you don't have to hold on to that belief system, because everything that you believe is a choice. And this is your mind, you guys. This is your mind. You have total control, even if you think you don't. Okay? None of you are missing a few French fries in your Happy Meal, even if you act like you are. No one on this planet is actually, truthfully, and if they are, it's me, missing a few French fries in their Happy Meal. Even though I come across people every day that I am sure are not only missing the French fries, but they're missing the cheeseburger, and they might even be missing the toy. Like, I might have just got the 2 blocks. You know what I'm saying? Okay? Doesn't mean it's true. If it's not about you, then don't take it on. And as soon as you realize that it's not about you, you don't take it on. You don't take it on. And if you do take it on, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Communicate about it. Like for an example, it took me a long time to learn, but I really had to teach my children as an example, because I took things on that weren't me. I took, personality traits and habits. And one of the things that I took on is that when I'm scared, I come across mad. Right? And so my kids were always scared of me. And I had to figure that out, because a part of how you break the cycle is you break the reaction that you get from it. Right? So a part of how you do that is open and honest communication. And so I had to sit down with my kids and say, just so you know, if I'm really mad, if something's happened and I come across like I'm really mad, I just need you to know it sounds like I'm mad, but I'm not mad. So I don't want you to take it as mad. I'm scared. I'm scared. Right? And so I commit to you that I will apologize to you afterwards, because it's a reaction, not a response. But please know in advance that that's really what's going on. Understand cycles. Understand the habits that you've taken on and things that you do, and communicate them. Communicate them, and don't do it all alone, my friends. Don't do it all alone. That's what you got partners for. That's what you got friends for. Right? I think one of our biggest struggles is that we spend far too much of our life trying to do it all on our own, and that's a very dangerous thing. In saying that, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it made sense. Like I said, it's all raw, so I have absolutely no idea if any of it made sense or not, but I hope it did. And I hope it answered the question. If it didn't, please tell me. I want to know. I have an awareness of a lot that was said, but I don't necessarily remember it. So on top of that, remember, if you like this at all, like, subscribe, get notifications for another one. And I'll talk to you again really soon. My goal is going to be to try to do them every day on the 3 days that I'm working in my office. So let's hope, and have an amazing day. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye, guys. Bye.